Hi, my name is Noah Scher or Comic Breaks on YouTube and Instagram, and this is my Star Wars Commander Air Kit mock. So, Star Wars Commander was a mobile app game, kind of like a Clash of Clans Star Wars themed game, which is sadly discontinued, so you can no longer play it. But I was very nostalgic for it, and after building a Marvel mock, I really wanted to try building a Star Wars mock. And not a whole lot of people have built this planet before, and I've seen some, but they use medium nougat, and I really wanted to experiment with the coral landscaping.
That's what caught my eye when first looking at this layout. Obviously, the lights are fantastic, but the coral landscaping is very unique.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like the picker brick wall had a lot of like the 1x4 plate with the studs on the ends, and but a lot of the specialty parts I had to place a bricklink order for those.
What types of pieces did you use to create that landscape?
So I used the 1x4 plate with the studs on the ends, cheese slopes, 1x1, 1x2 tiles, 1x1, 1x2 plates, and then the quarter circle tiles as well. Uh, I ran out of the cheese slopes, so I was going to have like rock work on the edges, but I ran out, so instead I opted for a black border, which I think I like better.
No, it frames the build nicely, so that landscaping is great, but then take us through kind of the story of what's happening here.
So, in the game, you start out with the headquarters, and as you upgrade that, you unlock more buildings. So this is really just a snippet of an Imperial base. Users got to choose whether they wanted to be Rebel or Imperial. I always went for an Imperial because their buildings looked a lot cooler. So we can actually start in this corner. So this is the Scout Tower, and I'm super happy with the way it turned out. It was very complicated at first. Took me a few months, but I'm very happy with the way it turned out. And right behind it is the landing pad. And so this mock was actually supposed to be 3x3 gray base plates. So the landing pad was actually horizontal. But a few months ago, I made it vertical because I didn't have time to make it as big as I wanted it to be, unfortunately. But I'd say the most tricky part with the landing pad was the curvature and trying to make it mostly snot. And then I actually built this half of the mock first with the Scout Tower and the landing pad. And then I went to Brick Rodeo last year. I saw the lights out portion, and I knew I could not pass up adding lights to it. So I took it apart, added lights, and put it back together. And the Imperial Shuttle is actually covering some lights. I can go ahead and take it off. That's what it looks like. So the 08 represents the level of the landing pad. And the rotating lights right here represents that the shuttle is loading up with troops.
And you can see some of that great kind of snot work and some of the pieces you've used there to create the landing pad.
Yeah, I love sandwich tiles and like the specialty tiles. They work really well.
And then embedding the white lights in there worked really nicely as well with the 1x1 studs, the 1x2 pieces.
Yeah, I used a lot of like the Technic brick with the hole in the middle to get it to fit. The lights are from Light My Bricks. They're very user-friendly, and I highly recommend them for any mock.
So the landing pad looks great there. And what is the building we have over here in the right-hand corner?
So that is actually the Armory, where the troopers get their weapons and a bunch of cool stuff. There is no interior. The inside is basically just all the wiring for the lights, because that has the most lights of any other building in this mock. I'm really happy with the way it came out. I really do like the medium blue color for the Imperial.
No, between that and the coral, you've got a lot of very unique colors going on in this build.
Yeah, when it's dark and you have all the lights on, I love the red lighting with the coral landscaping. It just lights it up really well.
You've got some great angles in that the blue building too, so you had to use a lot of slopes to achieve that.
Yeah, a lot of slopes, a lot of the snot technique, studs not on top for the parts where the two red stripes are. I was really surprised. I thought medium blue was kind of like a rare color, but there was a lot of pieces in that color, so I was able to work with it.
How were you able to incorporate the lights into some of the smaller pieces there?
Same thing with the landing pad. I used like that Technic brick with the hole in the middle. There's actually two different kinds of lights. I have the regular LED lights, then I have microbit lights. So those are the much smaller ones. Like with the Scout Tower, I fit it with those tan 1x1 tiles. And so a lot of the smaller lights are using the microbit lights.
And it works really, really well. And then you've got kind of a turret out here.
Yeah, the turret was probably the second most challenging thing to design. Very unsturdy at first. When I actually transported here, the body was destroyed, so I had to rewire it. But the head, I really wanted the head to rotate 360, but because it's actually the lighting of the head is connected to the body, it will snap the wires if you try to rotate it 360, but it can still rotate a little bit.
And then we've got sort of a battle happening here. Is that right? So what are some of the characters represented?
So in the game, there's like a hero command station where you get to I guess train heroes. So for the Empire side, a hero, for example, would be Darth Vader, and for the Rebel side, Luke Skywalker. And so that's why I kind of have them running towards each other. And I have a lot of stormtroopers, and a very iconic troop in the game are the Dark Troopers. So I'm very happy LEGO made that Dark Troopers battle pack just in time. And I really wanted more updated Rebel Fleet Troopers for the Rebel side, but I opted for the Rogue One Troopers because at the time it was still available for when Rogue One came out, and when that came out, the game, there was like this Rogue One update, which I kind of find pretty iconic to the game. They added a lot of Rogue One Troopers, Shore Troopers, and stuff like that.
You mentioned that this tower here was kind of a challenging part of the build for you. So what were some of the parts techniques that you were able to achieve in there?
So a lot of hinges to create like the hexagon shaped base, like for the bottom and the top, and a lot of hinges as well to get those curved angles, especially at the top with the medium blue tiles. And for the gray structures, again, I have a hinge with a clip at like an angle going inwards. And like the lights are all like wired together. There's like a middle structure that goes all the way up, and I just have the wires loop around it for extra space inside.
On the exterior, you've got this kind of like force field looking kind of gate build. So that's a neat addition. I really like the use of the trans red pieces. How did that come together for you?
So these like wall structures are actually the first things I ever designed for this mock. I actually didn't know at the time LEGO made 3x3 plates. So when I found those on Studio, I knew right away that was the perfect size for them. These are technically supposed to be like shield, like ray shield border around the entire base. But since they're so thin, I was unable to add lights to them. And also, there's just so many to even put lights in them.
And so you mentioned that this was based on a mobile game, right? Which is very unique. Normally with Star Wars, it's either like one of the movies or a TV show, something like that. So what was that like, kind of basing it off of a mobile game and kind of drawing inspiration from that?
Well, I felt like I was doing something new. Not a whole lot of people has done this planet before, and if they have, then they usually are using like medium nougat color. I've seen a lot of like prequel mocks like Camino, Geonosis, and original trilogy Scarif, and sequel trilogy like Taco Dawn and stuff like that. I just wanted to find something that not a whole lot of people have done before, and I thought AirKit was the perfect choice.
Oh, it's a great layout here, so thanks for taking us through everything. And I just noticed there's a little addition on the side of the building there as well.
Yeah, so I actually went to Bricks and Minifigs about an hour ago, and I purchased the Ethan Hunt figure from Mission Impossible. And so, yeah, I thought that was kind of funny to add.
Any plans for all this coral now that you've collected it for this build?
Well, I do have enough at home for at least another base plate. But I'll probably take this apart when I get back home. I'll keep like a base plate still built. I'm not sure which section though, but maybe if I decide to make other AirKit mocks, I'll definitely use coral.
Sounds good. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.